Have you ever looked at a painting and felt like the eyes were following you? What if it was more than just a feeling? What if the painting wasn't just watching you? What if it was changing right there on your wall every single night? This is the story of the Harris family and the painting that turned their dream home into a living nightmare. It all started when the Harris family moved into a beautiful old Victorian house. They were thrilled. High ceilings, ornate woodwork, and a sense of history that felt magical. In the dusty attic, buried under a white sheet, they found it. A large, oil-painted portrait of a stern-looking family from a bygone era. A father, a mother, and two young children, all staring out with vacant, unsettling eyes. Despite its slightly creepy vibe, Mrs. Harris thought it had character and decided to hang it in the main hallway. That was their first mistake. The first night, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But the next morning, their teenage daughter, Chloe, came downstairs looking pale. "Mom," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "did you move the painting?" Mrs. Harris shook her head. "Why would I?" Chloe pointed. "The little boy. His head was turned to the side yesterday. I swear it was. I was looking straight at us." Her parents brushed it off as a trick of the light, an overactive imagination. But Chloe knew what she saw. The following day, it was Mr. Harris who noticed it. He was walking past the painting on his way to work when he stopped dead in his tracks. The mother in the portrait, who had a neutral, almost sad expression before, now had the faintest hint of a smirk on her lips. It was subtle, almost unnoticeable, but it was there. He felt a cold dread creep up his spine. He didn't mention it to his wife, not wanting to scare her, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Things escalated quickly. One night, the family's youngest son, Leo, woke them up screaming. When they rushed to his room, he was pointing at his closet, crying, "The man from the painting was in my room. He was standing right there." They checked the closet, the hallway, everywhere. Nothing. They tried to comfort him, telling him it was just a bad dream. But when they walked back down the hallway, they all froze. The father in the painting was no longer there. His section of the canvas was just an empty, dark background. Sheer panic set in. They huddled together in the living room, too scared to sleep, too scared to even look back down the hall. By morning, the figure of the father had returned to the painting, but his position was different. His hand, which was previously resting on the chair, was now raised, as if he were waving or warning them. The family was terrified. The faces in the painting were no longer just changing their expressions. They were moving, disappearing, and seemingly entering their home. Whispers echoed through the halls at night, and objects would move on their own. The house no longer felt like a home. It felt like a prison, and the painting was their warden. Desperate for answers, Mrs. Harris started researching the history of the house. After days of digging through old town records and library archives, she found it. The house had belonged to a family named the Vanderbilts, the same family depicted in the painting. The records told a horrifying story. Mr. Vanderbilt was an artist, but he was also a cruel and controlling man. One night, in a fit of rage, he did something unspeakable to his family before taking his own life in the very attic where the Harris family had found the painting. The town legend said he believed he could trap their souls within his final masterpiece, forcing them to stay with him for eternity. He had painted their portraits, but he had used more than just paint. He had mixed their ashes into the pigments. Suddenly it all made sense. The moving faces, the disappearing figures, the disembodied whispers. It was the trapped spirits of the Vanderbilt family. Reenacting their final moments, their eternal torment captured on canvas. They weren't trying to harm the Harris family. They were trying to communicate, to cry for help. The smirk on the mother's face wasn't malice. It was a pained grimace. The boy looking away wasn't shyness. It was fear. The father figure roaming the house was the tormented spirit of the artist himself, still asserting his dominance. The Harris family knew they couldn't stay. They couldn't live with that constant silent screaming from the wall. They contacted a paranormal investigation team and a specialist in haunted objects. The investigators confirmed the intense spiritual energy emanating from the painting. They said the souls were bound to it, trapped by the artist's dark ritual. The recommended solution was not to destroy the painting, as that could release the spirits in a chaotic and unpredictable way, but to have it ritually blessed and sealed away somewhere it could no longer torment the living. The family packed their bags that very day. As they were leaving, Mrs. Harris took one last look at the painting. For the first time, she didn't see a creepy, haunted object. She saw a tragic family, frozen in a moment of unimaginable horror. The faces were all looking straight ahead again, their expressions blank and empty, as if they knew their story had been understood. The house fell silent. The Harris family moved out, and the painting was taken by the specialists. It now resides in a secure, climate-controlled vault, monitored for any paranormal activity. The house was eventually sold to a new family who were told nothing of its past. But sometimes late at night, when the new owners walk down that long hallway, they say they feel a strange cold spot right where the painting used to hang. And sometimes, just for a second, they think they see a faint outline on the wall, like a faded memory of four figures staring out from the darkness, waiting. They just don't know what they're waiting for. Thank you so much for watching. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this creepy tale, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe, and always be careful what you bring into your home. You never know what stories are attached.